and then I'll just give you a little bit of walkthrough, like what is important, what is not, how to properly use these accounts, right? Or what are the features that we get. So we'll be covering all those things today, okay? So listen really carefully, because the thing is, this one will be an important one, because today I'll show you how to properly use a cloud account, okay? By the way, do you have your AWS account? Like, do you have one?
Sorry, what did you say? Have what account? I didn't hear
AWS
you.
account. Do you have one?
No, no, I
Okay.
don't.
No,
Can you do
they don't
one?
have it.
Oh, they don't have it. Okay. Because
Yeah, they
I
don't. So just
already have. Uh-huh.
yeah, I already have one, but I don't think they have it already. So, but you just show them how to do it, then I'll walk them through getting the account because I
Okay.
think
Okay. Okay.
they will need a payment
Mhm.
method. They will need to add a payment method, even if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, so
Correct. Correct. Correct.
I'm working with someone back home that's going to give them temporary Visa cards that they'll use for the cloud account.
Okay. 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 Cool. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Let me share my screen then. Yeah. Let me share my
okay.
screen. Okay. Let me know if everyone can see the screen. I think so. It should be visible now. Okay. So usually what we are doing is today we'll be creating an AWS account, right? So first of all, we'll be doing this thing, like creating a dedicated account, and then I'll tell you about the other things. Okay. So first of all, when we want to create an AWS account, AWS is a part of Amazon. Okay. So do not open amazon.in.com or whatever, right? So for this one, we need to type AWS console. To type this will take you to AWS services. Like you can type AWS services also, it will come up, but AWS console is something that will take you directly on the console. Okay. So if you open this, basically this is what we are looking for. AWS management console. When we click on it here, this is the console that we get when we are trying to log in or when we are like reaching up to the page. Okay. So here it will show like sign into console or create a new account. Okay. So right now, as you guys don't have an AWS account, so what we will do is we'll just click on this create account. It will take us to the sign in page, and here you will see try AWS at no cost up to 6 months. Okay, so it doesn't mean, first of all, let's just understand first of all like what AWS is offering us and how, like what are the promotional contents, because this is promotional only. So what do we get in free or what we are paying up for? Okay, because in AWS, by the way, nothing is free. It's free only in a certain you can say criteria, right? So we'll have to look for that conditions apply thing. Okay, so here it is saying try AWS at no cost for up to 6 months, right? And here it says start with $100 in AWS credits. So this is something new that AWS has started offering. Earlier it was up to like 1 year. Now they have changed it to 6 months, maybe because obviously the cost is higher today, right? Plus earn up to $100 by completing various activities. So it's like a puzzle game kind of thing. So if you do certain activities that are told by AWS, so you can get additional $100. But let me like let me tell you, right? $100 is really less when you are running. You can say prod level things, right? $100 is nothing. It's just like peanuts. So I'll show you how to do it in like bare minimum. And usually by default you will have $100, so you won't cross that if you run it properly. Okay. So first of all, it is saying root user's email address. So first of all, you will have to put your email address, and this email address will be your root user's address. So what do I mean by root user is this will be your you can say the delegated user or the default user, or in our case it is said as it will be your dedicated account user. Okay, and this user is something that you want to protect at all times. It will have utmost security like applied to it. Okay, so here we can put a name. Let me put this name. So here, give it a account name. So it can be, by the way, this account name can be anything. I just put this thing. It's just ordinary. Now we'll have to verify the email. 1 second. Let me put an email that should be verifiable by me. What should be the email? What should I put? I think yeah, admin at I can use this one. I don't have an account with this thing. So I can do verify. And here it is saying it sent a verification code. Okay, let me open that code. I think I should receive it here. Give me a sec. Here, this is the code. If I copy and I paste, and then I can do is verify. So once you verify, right, this is very important because earlier, usually what you used to do is like earlier there were people that used to use fake email IDs and they were creating a lot of AWS accounts, and that was putting a lot of burden on AWS because they have to maintain that account thinking that it is a real customer or a real user, and the people used to spam, right, AWS and do various stuffs that even AWS won't recommend you to do, like Bitcoin mining and whatnot, right? So that's why they put a lot of various measures so that they can verify that the user that they are creating or whoever is creating the account is genuine and someone not like a bot or something. Okay, now we need to put a user a root user password. So I'll just put anything, but remember there's a password policy that says the password must be at least 8 characters long. That too is a security feature, and it should contain at least 3 of the following things. For example, it should either have an uppercase letter, lowercase letter, numbers, and alphanumeric character. Okay, so for example, I just put a password, make sure not to tell anyone. So if you define all that criteria, it would be like good. Again, let me put that same password because the password should match and it should show like matches. This is very important to show up because this confirms that both the passwords that you have put is correct. Okay, and then you can continue from this step. If all good, it will let you. Okay, here. Okay, one more security feature. Okay, this I wanted to show. So if your password is very common, for example, admin at 123 or any common password like administrator or anything, right? That these are like very common passwords. So if you use that kind of password, it will show you like this. This password is publicly known through a data set leaked from a third party. So publicly known means the password that you are putting here is already leaked. So the hackers would, like, there's a very high possibility that have hackers already have the hold of this password and they can crack this password via the brute force attacks or whatever attacks they do. Okay, so use a different password that is like secure and that is something random and not be used by anyone. So let me put a different password. See if this works. Okay, I got the matches and continue. There. So this password is accepted because this is not paid. Okay. Now this is the important page that I was talking about. Like AWS will give you certain features and certain you can say things, but the main thing is when you go into these plans, because these plans were not there. I think 3 months ago it was not there. It was open to all. Then they have like implemented. So the thing is, by default as a user, because you're creating it first time, do not go with the paid account. In paid account, you will get a lot of features, but obviously we don't want all of them. We just want what we are going to use. Okay. So we'll be going with this thing: learn, experiment, and build prototypes. Free for 6 months. You will receive up to 200 in credits, but remember that 200 credits you will not get in one go. You will get only $100 as AWS is saying in the start page. And when you perform certain activities, only then you will get that extra $100. Okay, so it's not like they will give you $200 in the start. They will not do that. Okay, so we will be doing with this thing. See, you can read this. This is called view additional details. If I click on it, it will tell you like what is there and what is not. Here it will tell receive up to $200. Here it is saying free and paid plan receive $100 in AWS credit. You can earn an additional 100. So there is a conditions apply. You will have to earn that. Like how will you earn it? Creating a budget alert to monitor cloud cost and usage. If you do that, you will get the additional $100. Second thing, free and paid plans include some AWS services with a free monthly limit. I will tell you about the like what services are there. So some services in AWS, both in free and paid, right? They are free of cost, but these are very limited services and they should be only used in a limited manner, because if you uh, use something else that is not free of cost, they will start charging you. Okay, so I'll tell you those things. Otherwise you can always click on this learn more and that will like give you the whole free tier thing. You see here, like what is free, what is not free, other things. There it is. So this is what is in your AWS free tier. These are the ones. So EC2 is free. I'll tell you when. S3 is free, Aurora is free, DynamoDB is free, Transform is free, RDS is free, Bedrock and Bedrock Agent Core. By the way, this feature is very much, you can say, useful, because there are others also, but this is something that uh, can be used to learn AI, and we'll be doing that as well in like our future classes. But that is something that is free of cost for at least 6 months. It will be free, so you guys can use. Okay, now let me go back here. Workload scale beyond credit threshold. So in paid plan, right, there is, by the way, there is no threshold, so it won't expire, but obviously the billing will go higher. In paid plan, there is a threshold limit. So for example, you cannot create more than 8 servers at a given time. Like you are ready to pay, still you are ready to pay, but still you cannot create more than 8 servers, because the threshold is you cannot go beyond that. So in you will have to go to the paid plan to create all those things. Okay, so in free plan you cannot do that. So there are certain limitations to it. Okay, so when you do, we'll just go with free plan. Do not choose this thing, they will start asking for money. You see, it says pay as you go, so the more you use, they will start charging you. So just go with this one. Now this is important because here you will be putting your details. So this is your like normal details on which they will credit that $100. Okay. Again, this thing is created to know that okay, the user that is creating that account is a genuine user. Okay. So in my case, I'll just maybe put my name. Organization name is optional. You can either put it. If you don't put it, that too is okay. They won't ask you for that. So for example, let me put my number here like this and change the country code. In my case, I'm in India. I'll use this. And yeah, that's it. I have read. Yeah, this thing also. Why is it? Okay. Also, yeah, okay. Now it will ask me for this and continue. Yeah. So I don't know. This service should not be available to you. This is a UPI, yeah, Universal Payment Gateway. So like maybe you guys don't use it, but in your case, you will be getting this credit or debit card. But remember, the thing is, earlier they don't used to do it. Again, they have done something that when you are going to pay using this thing, right, they will credit some money from your place, like at least $1. They will give you back. They will give you back. But just to verify, they will debit $1 from your account. Okay, and they accept these cards like RuPay. RuPay is basically for India. Visa is international. Master is international, and this American Express is also international. So they will accept all these things. Okay, and Amex card. I think Amex card don't support RuPay and okay. So it says that RuPay, because it's an Indian, and in India there is like guidelines that you cannot cut the money without users' authority. So they won't be able to charges, right? Because bank will deny their transaction. But I think in other parts, right, like in Africa, Europe, and other places, if you don't have an Amex card, right, they have the authority because bank has no, you can say, leverage to it, so they can auto deduct the money. So whatever money, whatever billing will come to you, it can be deducted from your card, and they have added it recently. So beware about that. Okay. So do not like always put a alert for those things. Okay. So obviously I don't have that, and this pan is also I think like Indian based. You don't need it because this is only for India. I see Indian income you'll have like it is for income tax. You don't need to put that. But whatever comes up, you just like put it and then just do next. I don't have, so I can't put it right now, but usually after this, the account will get created. But remember, once the account is created, right, it will require at least, I think, sometimes it gets created in an instant, it starts working, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So even if you, once you register, right, it will take you to the dashboard. The dashboard will look like this, all blank, right? But the thing is, it doesn't mean that you're on the dashboard. It doesn't mean you're verified. So until you're verified, AWS will not let you use any of its service. So just be aware about that. Okay. So even if it doesn't work, give it some time, maybe an hour or so, it will start working. Okay. So until your all the information is genuine, okay, it will start working. So you don't need to like rush about that. It will work. Okay, so once you are done with everything, this kind of dashboard will appear to you. Like in my case, there are certain restrictions that I'm using, like the account that I'm using has a lot of restrictions. That's why it is getting access denied. In your case, there will be no access denied, nothing. Like everything will be visible to you. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of idea because we'll be using a lot of EC2 instances, right? So I would like you to show what is free and what is not free first, and then we will go on with this thing. Okay. So first thing to do here is whenever you are logged in and your account starts working, the first thing you will do is go to IAM. IAM is Identity Access Management. Remember, this service is something that handles all your users and its permission. So by default, when you log in, you are a root user. Root user means a user that has admin level privileges that can do everything on this account, right? And if that user you can say access keys or any kind of credentials gets leaked, right, then you can be in a lot of trouble because that particular hacker, whoever has your credentials, can do a lot of things that should not be done. So usually the first thing that you will do after you get the dashboard page, right, you go to IAM, like type IAM on the top here in the search bar. This kind of service will come up. This is called IAM, and this service is to manage access to your AWS resources. So anything or anywhere in AWS, if you want to give someone access to certain resources or you want to give them full access, whatever kind of user activity you want to do, you will have to go to IAM, and this is called Identity Access Management. Okay. So first thing you will do is go here in IAM, and you will have your user. There will be like one user like this. You can go there, and whenever you see this user, right, always make sure when you go to this IAM users, you'll see your user. Like in my case, it is cloud user. So you go here, click on that, and the first thing you will do is you will go to security credentials here. And you see here, you will see multi-factor authentication. Make sure to enable this like this. So here you can use an authenticator. Like there are multiple ways to authenticate, by the way. So you can authenticate via your access keys like fingerprint, face. You should have that particular device with you. Like if you have a fingerprint scanner with you, you can use it. If you have a face scanner, you can use it. But see, most of the times we don't have those things, right? In computers or laptops, like sometimes we have. In laptops, we have like fingerprint scanners, but not everyone will have it. Okay. So the best option here in this case will be to use an authenticator app. So in authenticator, you can always use either Google Authenticator or you can use Microsoft's own authenticator. So if I show you, you can just say, if I type authenticator, yeah, there. This is the logo of this authenticator. It is called Microsoft Authenticator. Or you can use something called a Google Authenticator. This is available on iOS and Mac, both the places. This is the logo. And what it does is Authenticator will, like this thing, if for example, if I choose Authenticator, right, I go and put it a name. Maybe this authenticator lives on my Samsung device. I just type Samsung. If it's your Apple, it's just a name so that you can verify. I do next. Now it's asking me to set up the device. Obviously, I don't have the permission. Usually what happens here is it will give you a QR code. So let me show you. I think here you will have this permission. So here, usually what happens is when you open this, right, it will open like this. I'm talking about the authenticator, right? So now the authenticator is saying simply set up using your camera. So what happens is this particular place, like here, when you set up your authenticator, assign MFA device, right? and you type the name and you do hit next here, it will give you a QR code that you will scan with this app. So the moment you scan, right, the moment you scan, this will start showing you like this here. Here it will be written as AWS account, and the account ID will show up here. So where do you see the account ID? The account ID is here. There it is. This. So it will start showing up as an account ID, and then there will be a code. So the moment whenever you log into AWS, right, what will happen is when you put your username and password, it will ask you for the authenticator. So if you pass the authenticator, only then you will be able to log in. Otherwise, it won't let you log in. So that is why it is like important. It is like a two-factor authentication. You will have to log in 2 times or authenticate yourself 2 times. And this is really important if you are working as a root user. So the best part of this thing is, even if your credentials got hacked or somehow it gets leaked, you will still have your authenticator to protect you. Okay, so they won't be able to log in until they have this unique code. And the best part of this thing is, you will see a timer here, right here, like this. So this timer goes away, like it's a 60-second code. This code changes every 60 seconds. So just remember that this thing is something that is not static. This will keep on changing. It's a dynamic code creation thing. So it will change the code every 60 seconds. So this is the first thing that you should do once you log in. Always enable your MFA. Okay, so once you are done, your main part should be done. Main part is your basic security should be in place. That is the first thing that you will do. Okay, that should be your main security. Let me, one second. I think I'll have to log into one more account. Let me see if I remember, because the thing is, I have an account, but I don't remember the password. Let me see. I'll show you the authenticator thing also. Let me log in. Try sign in. Oh, it created my user without even that thing. Yeah, I don't even have a user. Like, it's not authenticated. If I go to IAM, I should see my user. Yeah, it says incomplete. Sign up to do it again. So this is what it will show. Once you have authenticated, it will let you go anywhere. Otherwise, it won't let you. Let me remove this. Let me close it. Create a new incognito mode so that there's no history. Let me try and log in. Okay. So once I'm here, let me sign in with root user email. Yeah, let me put the name. It was @planet.com. Next. I don't remember the password, but let me check. So you will see once I put the password and I do sign in, right? There it is. It is asking for a MFA code. So the best part is, even if your password is leaked, you will still have to authenticate via your MFA. So what should I do? Let me open my authenticator. This one. So let me put the code 450461. And if everything is good, it will let me log in. Otherwise, it will fail. So I think it worked. Okay, yeah, it worked. It worked. Now I'm here. So where you have all the $41. Okay, no worries. So once this is there, right? Now what I can do is I go to IAM. As I said, like, you can set up an authenticator. My user already have one, right? So in your case, you can like go and create those. I don't know if this is a domain. Oh my god. So can you guys, since I'm going on. So, okay. So okay, so usually the next thing that we'll be doing is you will go to billing, and here you can see all the billing, by the way. Go here, you will be seeing all the billings here. So the best part of billing is, this is like really important to understand, because the best part of this thing is here you can exactly see what services you are using. So for example, I need to see, for example, it's saying that you have $140 as a bill, right? Now I want to know, like, what have I used that has cost me this much. Okay, so what I can do is I can go here in the bills here. I click on this, and here it will like dissect everything. So if you can see here, it says $69 for the EC2 instance. Kubernetes container cost me $34. So like this, there's a breakup, and how many instances are running in what region. Here it will show you the regions as well. Like in EU Stockholm, in North Virginia, it is showing. Let me go there. Let me open a new tab. 1 second. Here, and I'll go to EC2 just to show you. I'll go to EC2, and here you can see the region also, and this is very important to understand, because for example, you got hacked, you will never know that something is running on your account until you go to the billing and see, and this is really important. So for example, in Stockholm there are certain things running. If I go there, I can see there is a lot of like pairs, security groups, right? Everything is there, but nothing is running here. If I go to instances, nothing is running here. It's all blank. There, it's nothing is running here. But like someone was running here things, right? So I can see that, okay, on Stockholm things were running, in this region also it is running. So I can always see what regions I'm utilizing and how much money I like it costed me. Okay, so to understand this, for example, I don't want my bill to go beyond this thing. So I can always create alarms here. But remember, this alarm section will only be available. By the way, even if you are an admin user, even if you give someone the admin user, this billing section will be out of their hold. You will have to explicitly give them billing permission. They won't have it. Billing is something that is very, you can say, private. They won't share. AWS won't share you this thing until you exactly like the root user will only have this permission. Even other user, if they got admin permission, they won't be able to see the billing until and unless they specifically have that permission. So just remember that. So if I go to billing preferences, here you can say like how do you want to pay and whatnot. Like you can create connections and everything. And the best part is in AWS, okay, they bill you in like 2 months. So for example, in first month, even if you don't pay them, right, your services will not stop. But in the next month, if you like default, you are not able to pay, you defaulted to a payment, right? In that case, they will stop your account, like suspend your account. So suspension doesn't mean that your resources are gone. Suspension means you won't be able to access or create any resources until and unless you pay them that particular price. So once you pay them the price, they will like give you the access back. Otherwise, they won't let you access anything. So you will have a 2 months period, okay? And after that, and I think next 6 months, if you don't pay them, they will delete the account. So in that case, you will default. Like they will delete the whole account, and the resources that you were running will be gone. Here it is saying that 1 month payment is past due. So like usually it is saying that you have like I had to pay. They were not able to like deduct that much money, and I'm still running that account, by the way. So if I pay them this month, right, this will like go away, and I will still be able to run my workload on this thing. So okay, 1 second, give me a second. Okay, so now if I go to where was that? Yeah, billing preferences. If I go here, and there it is. You see, alerts, preferences. this is where we will be putting our alerts. So if you create this alert, right? Like if you want to create a billing alert, you can always create here. It says receive free tier alerts, because see, it is saying receive free tier alerts because right now I'm running a free tier account. Like this is a free tier account. So it is running a free tier alert. Okay. So the thing is, the moment I alert, like the moment I start running something that may cost me, right? I can always come here and I can create a free tier alert. I can just put my, you can say, email address and click on update, and they will start sending you updates the moment they detect that you are running something that might cost you. So, and in normal alert, like usually you can create CloudWatch alarms and other things also. That should also work. So, for example, here, receive CloudWatch billing alerts. If I go and update, there it is. Now it will send me billing alerts. So where do we get it? I'll go to CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is a service in AWS that monitors everything. So its only job is to monitor. No other job. Only job is to monitor. So anything you want to monitor on your whole account, right? This is something there where you will go and you will start monitoring. So basically you can just, like, for example, I go to create alarm, right? I choose classic. I choose, I can do, second. Something. Yeah, it should be create alarm. Okay. I go next, select metrics. Here I can choose billing. There it is. I can choose billing, and total estimate charge. I can go with this, or by service. Like total estimate charge is what you will need. By the way, like how much charge am I going to get? So you can like choose that, and then you do start metric. And now you will start seeing, I can put estimate charge in USD, right? Like how much charge it may ask me. So I can say anything that is greater than or equal to, or I can say greater than usually. I can say, for example, I am getting, like, I don't want anything more than $150. So it is in USD, by the way. Remember, everything is in USD here. So anything that is greater than or equal to $150. So for example, if I reach $150, why greater than and equal to is, if I reach $150, tell me right away, the create an alarm. Okay. Or if it is equal to $150 or greater than, right? So if once it touches $150, it will alarm me. And once it starts moving out, like more than $150 also, it will start telling me. So either you can go greater than means like anything that is beyond 150, it will start telling me. Anything that is equal to or greater than 150, again, this will tell me. But this is something that is like you should use. So next, and here you can choose like how do you want to like tell me. Either you can create an SNS. SNS is simple notification service. SNS needs to be configured. SNS I'll show you, but SNS is something that is a notification service. Like you can put your email address there and it will start sending you emails. Okay, I'll show you that, but usually like this is how you create an alarm. We'll be using SNS. I'll show you, I'll like get back to this when I'll be showing you this SNS thing, because this is something that we will be using a lot of times, right? So I'm not covering a lot of service because you guys may tend to get confused. Okay, but this is what you will do. So once you put an alarm, you put an SNS service as for the notification, you just click on next and it should be done. Like nothing extra. You won't need anything extra. So if I remove this, for example, I do next, proceed without actions, nothing. I can give it a name. I can say billing alarm, give it a name, and how the message should come up. If I go to preview, here nothing showing up. I can say you are exceeding the 150 USD mark. So, oh, so spelling. Okay. Yeah. So if I go to preview, this is what you will get as a message. Like once the alarm hits, okay, and then I can do next, and it will start showing up in a while. And because it takes time to like gather the data, and then I can just create the alarm. And the moment I go beyond 150, it will start like showing me the alarm. So it is saying insufficient data. See, in start, it will show insufficient data because it takes a little bit of time to gather the data. So after a while, it will like start showing up here. But this is how you create an alarm. Okay, now let's get back to our this thing. Okay, so we already see like the third thing is we can create multiple users and names. We have already done this, like how to configure alarms. You can either go to billing preferences, put your email ID, it will just give you alarms whenever something change, or you can put a threshold via the CloudWatch. So whatever happens is whenever that threshold mark is reached, CloudWatch will alarm you. Okay, so first of all, like this thing is like create IAM users and roles. Like how should you create those users and roles? Remember one thing, whenever you are giving them or anyone you are giving an access, right? For example, let me show you that. So for example, if I go here, I go to IAM, and here you will create the users, like whatever related to the users you will do from here. You go here and I need to create a user. I'll just click on create user and I give a username, anything I can give, maybe test user or test one user. So this is where you will create the user, give the username, and here you will have to tell that, see, in AWS you have two kinds of access. Either you have a CLI access. CLI access means you can only do things via the terminal. In that case, you have to be a developer or something because you need to know all the commands. So you won't get any GUI access or any you can say dashboard. You won't be getting. Okay, that is called a CLI access, and the second access is called a management console access. This is the management console. The dashboard is called a management console. So if I want my user to have the management console access, I just choose this option and then I'll have to create a password. But if I don't have, obviously they don't need a password for that because now they don't even have a password. Like they don't even need the password and username to log into the console, right? So always remember, whenever you're creating the user, you give this, you choose this at the time of creation, because after that you won't get the chance. So you have to delete the user and recreate a new user if you want to give them console access. Okay, so for me, I'm just giving them just one access, like this user. I'll just do the access. Auto generate a password for me. So there are two options: either I can auto generate, either I can create a custom password. Depends. I just do auto generate. This is the best option. And here it says users, when the user is like creating, right, it will auto generate a password, and the moment the user logs in, this option will give them option to change the password and put their own password. If you remove this thing, then what will happen is this auto generate password will be their permanent password. But if I choose this one will be the temporary password. It will ask to like verify one time, and then it will ask the user to create a new password. Let me show you. Okay, so let me do next. This is very important to understand because there are three things in AWS. Like when you're creating a user, there's something called groups. Groups means whenever you have different users, right, you can have different profiles for users. Profiles means if the user is developer, you can have a group called developer. If the user is a IT expert or whatever, right, whatever designation they have, you can create separate groups and you can put those users within that group. So the best part, what will happen is you can handle all the users based on their department, based on their designation into a group. So whenever you go into the group, whenever you want to find the user, you can always go to that group and that user will be there, right? So you can segregate them. You can manage them more properly. So rather than handling them separately, you can handle them in group. And the second best part is, rather than, because see, the thing is, whenever you're creating a user, you will have to give them a password. Sorry, you will have to give them a permission, right? So the user by default will have no permissions. They cannot do anything. A new user cannot do anything by default. So you will have to give them policies. But the problem is in companies and organizations, you have so many users, right? You can have thousands of users. And the worst part is you cannot go to each and every individual user and give them permissions, whatever permissions they need, because from time to time they will need some permissions that they don't have, right? So in that case, what we do, we create a group. So the group gives you like the group performs two purposes. First of all, segregating the users and putting them into their like designated groups, right? And the second thing is you don't have to give them individual permissions. If they are part of a group, you just give the whole group a permission, and that permission will be applied to all the users at the same time. So rather than giving a single permission, a single user different like permissions, you can create a group, put all those users in the same group, because obviously if a developer is there, all the developers will need the same permission. So rather than going and giving them permissions individually, create a group, attach the permissions directly to the group, then all the users will automatically have that permission. You don't have to give them individually. In my case, I don't have a group right now, so I'll just do what? I'll just create or attach the permission directly. I go here, and one thing very important to understand is whenever you are creating a permission or giving a permission in AWS, permissions are called policies. Policies means a set of rules. Okay, these are the rules that give the user the permission to do things. Okay, so for example, I want to give my user S3 permission, like S3 buckets permission. I can just type S3 here, and then I'll see a different kinds of permissions. So permissions are of multiple types. So there are granulated permissions and there are full permissions. So right now I'll just show you a full permission, and then when we like do a deep dive into it, then I'll show you the granulated one, because now you will get confused. Okay, so for example, how to give the permission, I'm just showing you. Like, you just go here, type attach policies directly, choose a permission. In my case, I'll just do, for example, S3 full permission. I want the user to have S3 full permission. And the best part is, once I give this permission, right, IAM change user password and S3 full permission, these two permissions will allow my user to have only these two permissions only. So for example, when my user logs in, right, he can only change the password and they can only access S3 and nothing else. Root user can access everything, but this particular user will not be able to access anything. See, now it is asking me to log in, and this is the whole credentials that you will get. Either I can email the instructions to that user, either I can download a CSV file, and this CSV file will have all these details. Either I can directly log in from here. So for example, I copy here. Maybe I open one more incognito. Let me do that. And AWS console. I go here and let me log in. Yeah, let me log in. Yeah. So I go sign in. Oh, I already had. I don't know why I'm logging in again. Let me see. Go back. Cognito is behaving already. Okay, I already have the permissions. Let me see the password. Okay, that's the password. Like copy. Go here. AWS console. Why am I putting that? Enter. Username is test1, and my password. Oh no, it logged me out. Bad. Okay, I go here. It's okay. Log me out. That's okay. And paste and sign in. So if you have any other account logged in, it will just log you out. It's okay. That's not a problem. So now see, because I chose that option to like create a new password, it is saying, give me that old password. So you put that password that was given to you by AWS, and was a temporary password. Now I can create my own. I can just say, me. It says matches, and then I can log in and there continue to sign in. So this user is created now, right? And because this has console access, it can log in. But if you see, there is a lot of access denied, a lot of them, because it cannot access anything. So if I go to my EC2, for example, if I go to EC2, this is where the virtual machines are called, by the way. So the Ubuntu machine and everything that I was creating on this EC2. So EC2 is your virtual machine, the machine on cloud, the computer on cloud that you can like remotely access and do things, right? So if I go here, it says you don't have permissions. All these red means I don't have permissions. But if I go to S3, because I give this user full permission for S3, I should not see any issues there. There it is. See, no red marks, nothing. It's all good. There, see, no red marks. So this is how you can granulate permissions, and this is really important. Okay. And if I go back to the doc, it says apply least privilege policies. So this means granulating permissions. So least privileges means only give that particular permission that is required by the user, do not give anything extra. So for example, if a developer requires only EC2 permission, they should not have any other permission. Only EC2 permission should be given to them, nothing extra. Securely distribute access, like give them console login URLs. If you remember this user, this is the login URL. So this is different. For root user, there is no console login. They can directly go and log in. There is no console login for a root user. But for normal users, they will have a console login like this. And remember, you are not supposed to just copy it, like download it and send it to the, to like put it on a group or something. Do not do that. Always send this to a user via email or some method where you know, okay, this message will be personal and no one will be able to see. For example, personally message them, put an email personally. You don't want to expose their credentials on a public portal. Okay, and then automate and manual. Like you will have to monitor the cost that we already did. You can always do like CloudWatch alarms and all, and you will have to constantly monitor your account so that nothing unexpected happens to your account. Okay, because cloud is so big that if someone gets access to it, right, you can be in trouble. So this is what we'll be learning. So we saw how to create an account. Now we will see what to do and what to not do, right? Like do's and don'ts, and what does AWS provide us, and what are the things that we can do to protect ourselves. Okay, so let's start with this thing. So this is the first thing that I told you about. That is your access, like secure your user. That is the real important part. Okay, so authentication factors and access control models in AWS. Okay, so like what authentication factors do AWS provide, and like what are the access control models? Access control means who can access, who cannot, like authorization part. So usually someone you know, right? So like you can give access to someone you know, right, via this password, pin, passphrase. You can do someone you have. You can have your phone, hardware tokens, smart cards. So hardware tokens are also there. So there is something called a hardware key. So if I show, it's a uh, hardware key for MFA device there, EPOP. If I click this, right, there it is. This is how the key looks like. So you can have, like, you can give this key to someone, but until this key is inserted, right, only then you will be able to log in. This works as a hardware level MFA. But if you lose the key, you will never be able to log into your AWS anymore. So it's a two-way thing. You should have it. Someone who you are, like, as I said, you can have your fingerprint, iris scan, whatnot, right? But you should have that particular hardware to like allow yourself. And then you can have a location-based access. This is very important that companies use. So, for example, you're working in a US company and they all want that only the US personnel or whoever is in the US region, only they should be able to log in. Okay. So what I can do is I can put a location-based restriction so that if you are logging in, that doesn't matter. You have the MFA, you have the correct email password, doesn't matter. If you are not coming in from the particular geolocation that I have restricted to, for example, I have restricted to US, right? So as a user, if you are not logging in from the US region, even if you have all the correct credentials, the MFA, the username, password, whatever, right? It won't let you log in. So these are some extra steps that AWS takes to, you can say, secure your application, right? And then there is something called access control models. And the best part is it is called role-based access control. So what we did just now, we created a user, we gave it only S3 permissions. What we did is we created a role-based access control. So basically, the thing is, what I did is I restricted this user to a particular service. So basically, if I go here, here we'll see something called roles, right? So roles means you can assign them different permissions. They cannot have like more than that. So they will be restricted to that particular role. They will be restricted, for example, if they are a developer, as I said, I only want them to have EC2 permission. So they will be like restricted to that particular role. They cannot go beyond that. Then you have attribute-based access control. So these are different controls, by the way, but AWS use this one. Like this, like you will not get everything in the same platform, not everywhere. But usually attribute means, for example, the user may access payroll only if the department is HR. This is the group thing that I talked about. So for example, you're creating a group. The group is called HR, right? That HR group has the permission to view the bills. As I said, you can attach the permission to the group and the users will automatically have that permission. You don't have to give each user individual permissions. Okay. So this is something called attribute based permissions. And here you can define business hours, you can define location based on their attribute. And if they fulfill all those attributes, only then they can access. Okay. And remember one more time, again, I'm telling all these features are not provided by everyone, but these are certain things that you will find in different clouds. So for example, Azure, it provides you this thing, right? GCP may or may not provide you this thing. So different AWS or different cloud providers will have different kinds of security features built into them. Okay. Then there's DAC. DAC is discretionary access control or owner managed resources. So a file owner in a shared drive grants read access to a owner. It is like G Drive, if anyone has used like Google Drive. So in that case, what you can do is you can create or upload a file or a resource, right? And then, like, by the way, in AWS, you can do it via S3 buckets. So S3 buckets also work as a drive, like a G Drive. It is a G Drive which you can control, like you will have total control. So in G Drive, what we do is we upload something and then we can share that access with someone else, right? Until and unless that user satisfies that share criteria. For example, I shared only to your email. So if you are coming in, logging in from your email, only then you will be able to see the file. Otherwise, even if you have the link, you cannot access it. So that is called a DAC, or discretionary access control. And then you have a MAC, mandatory access control. Okay. So that means if something is documented and marked as secret, you cannot access. So you can put an extra layer of protection on a single file. So until they have the proper key, they cannot access it. It's like encrypting, and this is the KMS service in AWS. So we can use keys to encrypt the whole data, and until you have the correct key to decrypt, you cannot access it. So only we can make sure that only authorized users can like access. So it does in like WhatsApp also uses this. So in WhatsApp, when you send a user hi message or something, right, there is end-to-end encryption setup for you both. So no one can intrude into your network. So whatever, for example, as a man in the middle attack, if I go into that and somehow fetch your chat, right, it will be all encrypted. So I cannot like hijack the chat in between. So that is called a MAC, mandatory access control. Then we already talked about the password security. So password security is really important. Remember one thing, this is important in your day-to-day terms as well, because nowadays everything is digital, right? So you don't want anything to be like less secure. Okay, so you don't want to use passwords that are not too good. For example, admin 123 or password 123, password at 123. Right? These are very simplistic passwords that anyone can guess. You want to use a password that no one can guess, or something that is very unique. It should be random for the hacker that they can't even think of, right? So there are multiple tools also. For example, Google also gives you that option, like you can put your own password that you can randomly generate and store, right? Or you can create your own passwords. But remember, the password should be unique, and the password length should be more than 8 characters long. And that is a very genuine rule of creating a good password. So a good password will have at least 12 characters in it, right? 12 characters with a unique symbol and numbers. So your password can go around like 12 to 18 characters in between. If you put that password, if you create a password in that particular format, your password will be like unique as well as random, and it will not be easy to, like it will not be easy to hack. Okay, so core password principles are the password. The longer the passwords, right, the more it is harder for the hacker or anyone to crack it. You cannot, right? Uniqueness will matter. As I was saying, it should be kind of random that no one can guess, right? And storage also matters. So this is a real important point. Whoever, I'm just telling you, everyone, by the way, on this platform, whoever is doing this class, right? Do not store your password in Google Manager. For example, I go here and I see this password fill and autofill, Google Password Manager. Do not store your passwords here. either use something like this thing, a secret manager or anything that is like you have this one is called, I forgot the name, LastPass. Yeah, this is called the LastPass, right? So use any third party or like password vault or any kind of thing. Do not store your password here, never, because this is something that is very easy to crack. And whenever a malware attack happens, right, our Trojan horse, or if, for example, I'm the hacker deploys the malware. This malware will first of all go here and start fetching the passwords. So do not store. Do not store. So storage matters. Wherever you store the password, make sure first of all your password should be encrypted. It should not be easy. For example, I go here and I see these are the passwords, and you can see if I click here like this, it says copy username, copy password. If I do this, maybe username, right? Username copied. It did not share the password or the username. I don't know. So the thing is, even if I get the username, I cannot guess the password. So it should be something that is like that should not expose until and unless you have the authority to see the password and go and like like unblock it or unencrypt it, right? So it should not be stored in a plain text. Like do not write it on a notepad or something. Store it in a safe place. Change trigger matters. So remember one thing: no password is secure, even if you use the securest password on this planet, right? That password may tend to leak by some any means. Like there are multiple means to leak that password. So for example, if the password gets leaked, so remember in this scenario right now, nowadays, right, we use something called a zero trust policy. Zero trust means we do not trust anything. For example, I created a password. I will always think that the password gets leaked anytime. So to resolve this, what we do is we always remember to rotate your passwords every 90 days, 30 days. It's on you the moment you remember. But remember, it should not go beyond 90 days. So every 3 months, you should rotate your password to be secure in this digital world. And this is for your normal life I'm talking about. Okay. So always rotate, use MFAs, use strong passwords, and do not store your passwords in the Google Manager. These are some of the things that I would recommend you guys to not do that. Again, as I said, behavior matters. Do not put it on a sticky note or a notepad, because people tend to do that because they don't remember the password. So they what they do is they just write it, put it in their diary, put it in a sticky note or somewhere. It can be misused very easily. Okay. Multi-factor authentication, I already showed you that multi-factor is something that should be used. Like it's not something that I recommend. It is something that I will you can say force you to do for utmost security. MFA is important, and it's really important because MFA can protect you with a lot of problems. Okay, so problem means even if your password gets hacked, leaked, whatever, right, by whatever means, maybe you have put it on a sticky manager, someone gets your password, right? So it can be misused. And cloud, as I said, it is very uncertain. You can see infinite amount of billing here. By the way, there is no limit to billing, right? AWS wants money. They don't um, think that okay, you are a student, I won't charge you that because you won't be able to pay. They don't think like that. They are businessmen, right? So they will charge you those things. So as a hacker, what I can do is, if there is no MFA, I get your password somehow, log into your AWS account, run my workload on your account without you knowing. Okay, and at the month end you will get the billing. So that's why this billing alarm, first of all, that is important. And MFA is something that is really important, because without MFA, what will happen is even if I get the password, I log into the AWS account, but still I will have to provide that particular code that changes every 60 seconds or 30 seconds. So I will be stuck. Even if I have the password, I cannot hack in or I cannot get in. So that is really important. And that should be your utmost priority once you create an account. Okay, always have an MFA. And right now, nowadays, all the accounts, even your Gmail or any other accounts, not even cloud, right? Everyone has that feature called MFA. Make sure to enable it. Otherwise, you are highly prone to get attacked and hijacked. Really prone. So just beware, okay? I'll show you a demonstration also, by the way, like how easy it is. and I'll show you the data on public domain as well. Okay, so just for you guys to be cautious so that you don't repeat that thing. Okay, now you have something called EC2 instances, right? So this is a service that we will be using in our day to day. Okay, and this is where the machines are, right? So whenever whenever I was showing you those Ubuntu commands or whatever I was doing, right? I was doing everything on the EC2 instance. And remember, this service is a paid service on AWS, right? Because this is something that is the most used services on AWS. By the way, not on any platforms. Virtual machines are the most used services, right? Doesn't matter, it's Azure, AWS, GCP. EC2 instances, virtual machines, like these are also called virtual machines. These are the most used services on those platforms. Okay, and we will be using that very effectively. Remember one more thing, this was also like put in the free tier, so you can use it for free, but I'll tell you the limitations and I'll tell you the methods to use it free for your life until and unless AWS put some billing on it, right? But for now it's all free. Okay, so be sure to look at this method, what I'll be showing you, what I'll be telling you about, right? To use only that particular thing, otherwise they will start charging you. Okay, so by default, let me tell you, these services are called pay as you go service, and you are tend to use only on demand virtual machines. I'll tell you what on demand, and like there are other types also, I'll tell you about that. But remember, we'll be only using on demand virtual machines because we are using a model called pay as you go. Pay as you go means the more you use, the more you'll have to pay. The moment you stop the service, the billing will go away. Not the previous billing, but obviously the billing will not increase furthermore. Okay, so this virtual machine has some benefits to it as well. So the first thing is, see, in free tier you won't get all those benefits, but I'll just tell you the benefits for the paid tier or what the companies use it for. Okay, so as you know, virtual machines are the machines that you can use virtually, like you can remotely log into the machine. Give me a sec, guys. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying is virtual machines are your desktops and your laptops only, right? But only in cloud. So you won't get the hardware with you like you have it right now, but you can access that machine remotely. Like I will just give you the login. You can log into it, but you won't own the hardware. Okay, so that is what like that is. Then what you can do is it provides you with scalability. See, this is where the cloud comes in, and this is where something that, like if you do it on prem or on your premises, right, that will be drastically very costly to you. For example, I'm running a workload on my machine or on my PC, right, and I see that okay, the workload is running fine for now, but the moment the users started coming in, right, I'm hosting a server, I'm hosting a web service, for example, amazon.com is running here. Okay, single server is okay until, for example, 800 users, 1,000 users are coming in, it's running fine. But the moment the user started like increasing, right, now there is like 2,000 users, 3,000 users. Now the workload or my PC will start failing because it was not supposed to have that many users, and its hardware cannot handle that many users. In that case, obviously your business will go down. That we don't want, right? And that no companies want, because the more downtime, the more you'll have to pay, and you're losing the business, right? And you're losing money as well. So in that case, what you can do is you want something called scalability. Scalability means if you have a single server, you want to scale your server into multiple other servers. For example, you have one computer, a computer can handle like 1,000 users, and now 3,000 users are coming in. That means you need two more extra computers running the same workload, right? So what you can do is you can auto scale. You want auto scaling. You will have to buy two more computers, right? You will have to configure the same thing within those computers because everyone will need to see Amazon.com only, right? And then you can see that okay, 3,000 users are being handled now. But the moment the more customers started showing up, then it will be really troublesome because you have to go and buy the physical hardware, and that's really costly. So in that case, AWS comes in. What it can do is it will give you servers so cheap that you won't even like realize that okay, this is really cheap, because see, they are giving you free servers also. I'll tell you the requirements for that, but still you're getting the servers. So for example, when you buy new PCs, right, you see the hardware costs are so high right now, right? So for example, a single PC can cost you like $200, $300, and you buy like three more, four more, it can go $1,000, right? But within the $1,000, or with those $1,000 in AWS, you can run so many workloads that would have costed you like $10,000 or $20,000. That could have costed you. So that's why, see, servers are very cheap, and because of this cost effectiveness, cloud is the go-to thing for different companies, because companies are not owning hardwares anymore, because hardwares are something that is not a good choice for now, because you will have to pay for them, you will have to pay for the resources, the electricity, you will have to maintain the servers, update the servers, put engineers just to maintain those services, right? You will have to pay them. So why not, like, if I'm a provider, if I'm doing all those for all that thing for free, I'm just giving you a server that okay, you can use it, and everything else I will handle for a fraction of cost. Why not? Right? Why not go for it? Because that's a very cheap solution. And I'm running my workload. I am getting the accessibility. For example, you have a hardware, you'll have to carry the hardware to connect to it, right? But in AWS, you can remotely connect to it from around the world. Doesn't matter where you are sitting. You should have an internet connection, and that's it. You connect, you log into AWS, you go to it there, and you start working on your workload. Doesn't matter. So we are getting so much out of it, right? That's why cloud servers and this cloud you can say environment is so famous with authorities, organizations, and multiple other you can say institutes also. Okay, so it gives cost effectiveness, and it is configurable. Configurable means, for example, you buy a laptop, right, and the laptop has like 2 core CPU, 4 GB RAM. Now you think, okay, this laptop is not good for my workload, like it's not able to handle, let me go and replace. The shopkeeper will not take back that laptop and give you a new laptop. They will not do that. They will say that okay, go and buy a higher configuration laptop, and you buy it again, you see that okay, it is not able to run, I need more configuration. Again, you have to go and pay. So it can cost you thousands of dollars just to get those hardwares. And now once you see that okay, this project is done, I don't need this much configuration, this is like too high for me and it is too expensive, let me go and like give it back to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper will not accept. Even if they accept, they will charge you like way less price that they have sold you for. So it's like a very like not a good situation, right? You are in loss every time. But in AWS, you can always configure your workloads based on like whatever application you're running. For example, the application requires more resources, you can scale up your server. If it doesn't need more, you can scale down, and they will charge you only fraction of cost. So what do I mean by fraction of cost? Some servers can cost you 0.000 something dollars for an hour, for like an hour of workload. That is really cheap, cheaper than buying a whole new laptop. Okay, so we'll be like I'll be showing you that EC2 instance. Then in EC2 instance, you have something called security groups and ports. This is the important thing. So what is important here is whenever you are running a computer, right, the computer is connected to the internet. And I said in the previous class also, internet is not a very safe domain. You want to be protected from the internet. You don't want your computers, you don't want your workloads to be directly accessible by the internet. You don't want that. So to protect ourselves with those things, we have something called firewall. And that firewall is everywhere in all the, like in every computer. We don't use it most of the times, like normal user doesn't use it, but the firewalls are by default given to you by companies. Okay, so for example, in Windows, if I show you a firewall, I can just go here, I can type firewall there. See, firewall and network protection. So if I open this, there is a default firewall. It says domain network firewall is on, private firewall is on, public network firewall is on. So this is the firewall that has like few rules built to it, but those rules will like are there to protect you. So those rules make sure that your ports are not open until and unless they are needed. As I said, in each and every computer, by the way, your phones, your computers, right? They all work on ports. They have different ports, and ports are used to communicate. Ports are like gateways to your machine. Okay, so if something wants to connect to you, they will have to come through a port, and you will have to make sure that the port is open. Otherwise, they will not be able to communicate. Okay, so each service have their own ports. So for example, in Linux machines, you will have to log into the machine, right, to access it. So in that case, you will have to log in via this port 22. These are default and well-known ports. So 1 to 1000, you will see like most default ports. So port 22, if this port is not open, you will not be able to connect to the machine, because this service talks to your machine on port 22. And by the way, there are 65,536 ports in total. So that many ports, but you don't want to keep them open, because as I said, it's a gateway to your machine. So you don't want to open all the gates, right? So if it is required, only then open a gate. So for example, I want to log into the machine. The machine utilizes, sorry, the login utilizes the login service. It utilizes port 22, and it can come in through that. So I'll open the port 22. And if the port is open, obviously I'll be able to connect. If I close the port, no one will be able to come, because it's like a house, right? The moment the door is open, if you recognize the service that, hey, okay, you are supposed to come in, I'm letting you in, it will come. But if you close the gate, nothing will be able to come. Like nothing will be coming in and nothing will be going out. Okay. So same thing happens with your machine, but your machine has way many gates. It's like 65,536 gateways to your machine, right? And we don't want to open out. So we open gateways, or we open ports based on different services. So for example, I'm using SSH service that utilizes port 22. So I'll have to open port 22 in my firewall. So firewall is like a wall in between. So for example, if I show you, let me go here. Okay, let me clear. So let me show you what a firewall is. So basically, this is your computer, right? And a firewall is something that analyzes. So for example, firewall is like a wall in front. It's like a wall in front, right? And this wall is tasked with, like, it has multiple rules. It's like your security guard. So if this wall has a rule, for example, it says, like I say that, okay, port 22, because it's a Linux machine, right? It's a Linux machine. And if I want to connect, I will have to come in, like my service will have to contact me via port 22. So as a user, I will have to, like, if when I put the SSH command, right, that command goes to my Linux server. But the thing is, if this port 22 is not open, and by the way, this service can only talk to port 22. I can change the service, but by default, it only works on port 22. So if the port 22 is not open, the firewall will right away block it. Okay, so this is the user, for example, this is the user, and this user is trying to send a request to connect to the server. But the main thing is, if the firewall is not allowing port 22 is open, like I'll have to create a rule that whenever the connection comes in through port 22, allow it. Okay. So if I don't have this rule, the firewall will block by default. By default, firewall will block everything. It's all blocked by default. Okay. So I'll have to define rules, and those rules are called incoming and outgoing rules. Incoming means we are talking in terms of server. So any request that is going to the server is called an incoming. Any request that is going out of the server is called an outgoing request. Outgoing and incoming. Okay. So if I want to connect to the server, it will be called an inbound. It is also called inbound. Inbound and outbound. In AWS, it is called inbound and outbound. Outbound. Okay, and inbound. So if I want to connect to the server, I'll have to open the port 22, because as I said, by default, everything is blocked, right? So if I create the rule, if I say that, okay, allow port 22, it will allow the connections coming in from port 22. Otherwise, it will block. You will not be able to connect, right? And by like this, I can create multiple rules, multiple rules. So in AWS also, we create rules, right? And without those port rules, no one can connect. And that rules are created via the security groups. Security groups are AWS's own firewall. Let me demonstrate. So I'll just show you how to create a EC2 instance and then how to set up this firewall. Okay, like this thing, and then we'll come back to this like scaling and whatnot. Okay, so let me go back. So here you will again, like I just, when you click on this AWS icon, it will take you to the dashboard. Okay, here you will have to type EC2. EC2 is your virtual machines, like it is called virtual machines here. Elastic Cloud Compute. And you see when I type EC2, it is saying virtual server and clouds. Click on it. By the way, guys, if anyone has any doubts till now, or if I'm going fast or whatever, right, you can just raise your hand and ask me. Okay. So this is also called instances. So the machine, see this service which creates the virtual machine is called EC2. Okay. And the machines that get created in the EC2, for example, let me clear this out. EC2 is a service. It's not the virtual machine. EC2 is a service that creates virtual machine. Okay, so don't get confused with that. It is a service that creates virtual machine. So when you go to this service here, it is tasked with creating instances. Instances are the virtual machine. Like this is what a virtual machine is. In AWS, virtual machines are called instances. In Azure, they are called virtual machines only. In GCP, it is called VMs, or short form virtual machines. See, they cannot use the same name because of like copyright issues and all. But in AWS, it is called instances. But this is virtual machine only, like nothing extra. So here, what we will do is we will go to this place, go to instances. Like click here, instances, and you can launch instance. Now let's come back to the free part. Okay. Remember one thing. In AWS, you will get a monthly limit of 750 minutes for a virtual machine. So for 750 minutes, a virtual machine can run for free. I'll show you the whole configuration. Okay. So how does this 750 minutes work? Okay. So by 750, so you will get 750 minutes. First of all, that is something that is very important to understand for free tier. Okay. I'm talking about free tier. So if you be inside this criteria, it will be free of cost for you. Otherwise, they will start charging you. Okay. So virtual machine can run for 750 minutes for free. The virtual machine size will be T2 micro or T3 micro, whatever, like it will show you the free tier. T2 micro, you can run for 750 minutes, right? You cannot go beyond 30 GB of storage. So this is the max you can use. And remember, this is the max. Max means, for example, let's do a scenario, right? If I create a machine, T2 micro machine, like this is a type. There are multiple types, by the way, and those types have different configurations also. We will talk about that in the next class something, but just understand these are configurations. So you will have to be in this configuration. If you go beyond this, then they will start charging you. So for example, if you create a single machine with this configuration, right, it will not charge you. You can keep it running. Even if you like forget that the machine is running, doesn't matter. They will not charge you because you are utilizing the 750 minutes. And you will never go beyond the 750 minutes. You will never. Like in a month, you cannot go beyond that. Okay. You can keep it running. It will be free of cost. But what if you created a machine, like one machine that is T2 micro, and you created one more machine that is T2 micro? So what will happen? Can anyone tell me what will happen? So here in this machine, am like giving 30 gigs of memory or 30 gigs of storage. Yeah. So can anyone tell me, will I be charged or not? So I'm following the same rule. And how will this time limit work with this thing? Anyone wants to take a guess? Or
Please come back
like
to
any?
where we are. Please say it again. Ask the question again.
So I'm saying that if you follow this criteria, right, you can run a machine for free in AWS if you are within this criteria, right? But what if I create two machines with the same thing? So these are the same machines, but there are two of them now, not one. So what will happen here? Like, will they charge you or not?
No.
I think you'll be charged for one.
Yes, you will be charged for one. But only, okay, there's one more loop back, okay? So this is what I wanted to tell you, okay? So they will charge you. So for I think 15 days or something, they will not charge you for anything. They will only charge you for the storage. Because as I said, the maximum you can go is 30 GB. Okay. So here they will charge you for 15 gigs because 30 GB, sorry, for 30 GB, because this is something that is extra here. T2 micro is free of cost. This is also free of cost. This is also free of cost because we are within this limit, right? But if you do 15 GB here and 15 GB here, like you divided this maximum, now they will not charge you until, like, they will charge you, but not immediately. They will charge you until this limit is breached now, this 750 minutes. Because once you create two instances, right, within the limit, within the same limit, like you are not exceeding anything, the timer will get into, like, split into two. Now, 750 minute will be divided by these two. So until they breach, like together, they breach the 750 minutes, they will not charge you. Did you get the idea what I'm trying to say? So these are the maximum criteria that you cannot breach. You cannot create more than 30 gigs of storage. You cannot use. So if you create three instances, you can have 10 gigs of memory to each of them because you're not exceeding anymore. You are within the limit again, right? But remember these three instances now, because they are free of cost nowadays, like all are T2 micro. Now the timer will belong to this thing 750 minutes. So the moment these three breach this timer, the 750 minutes timer, because the time gets divided between them, right? So they will use the timer like more faster. Okay. So the moment they breach the 750 minutes, you will start, like, AWS will start charging you. But if you don't breach this time, you can run three workloads with this configuration free of cost. So this time is really important. This time and this storage. So if you can balance these two, you should be good. They won't charge you. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's
remember,
clear.
this is very important. Okay, timer and this thing. So you should always remember, do not breach the 30 gigs of storage limit. You cannot use more than 30 gigs, right? And you cannot go beyond 750 minutes. So if you want to run a workload for free, you can run one machine with this configuration and it can keep on running. They won't charge you. But the moment you create one more machine, right, the timer will start, like the timer will divide into two. So the timer will be like divided between the two instances or three instances or four instances, whatever like you want to create. Okay. So now how to create an instance. Okay. So when you click on launch instance, you will have to give it a name, and this name is optional. Even if you don't give a name, yes, Leo.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that. So in as much as you can create as much machines as you can, in as much as it doesn't exceed 30 gigabyte and it doesn't run out of the
Yes,
time. Okay.
yes. Yes. And by default, you will, like, when you create a machine by default, right? The minimum storage will be 8 gigs. So I think if you divide 30 by 8, you cannot create more than I think three machines. Like you cannot have 3.5 machines, right? So more than
Yes.
three machines, they will start charging you for that. Even for the
Oh,
storage. Storage is not that costly, by the way. Storage is not that costly. So $30 will cost, like 30 GB will cost you $3. So even if you breach, there will be like not much money, okay? But the timer is something that is really to take care of. So timer will cost you the whole instance. So do not breach that timer. Okay, so you give it a name. Maybe I'll just give it a web or test or whatever. It's just the name. So the name should be specific to your workload. For example, I'm running Amazon.com inside the machine. Somehow I just name it Amazon or Amazon.com so that I can know by looking at the name of the machine that, okay, I'm running this thing here. Okay. And here, when you see, this is the image. So remember, whenever you have a machine, right? Whenever you create a machine or you buy a machine, you are buying two things. You are buying a hardware and a software, right? So hardware is your machine with like a processor and RAM and whatnot, correct? And software is like, for example, if you're buying a Windows laptop, Windows is the software. Okay. If you're buying a Linux machine, Linux is the software. If you're buying Mac, Mac OS is the software, right? So in my case, in our case, we'll be going forward with Ubuntu, and that is free of cost, by the way. So we'll click on Ubuntu. Again, I'm showing you one more thing. How do you know something is free or not? Okay. When you select an image, for example, I select here, always look below. This will tell you the full information of the image. So if you see here, when I clicked here, right, it says Ubuntu 26. That is the latest version. LTS means like latest version. Okay, long-term support. And here you will see free tier eligible. So make sure whenever you're choosing a machine, right? You see this is free tier eligible, this is free tier eligible, but here it is not saying free tier. So that means if you choose these machines, sorry, if you choose these softwares, if you choose these operating systems, they will start charging. So make sure whenever you're choosing something, it should say free tier eligible. That means it will be free of cost. They won't charge you for this thing. Now, first thing is done. Scroll down and choose the. This is called like the hardware of the machine, because we need hardware as well as the software, right? So software we chose, we chose the operating system. Now we need to choose the hardware, like what will be our configuration of the machine. So by default, AWS will give you the free tier by default. If you don't change it, like in your case, you will not be changing it. But if I click here, it will show me other options. See, it is telling me that, okay, this is T3 medium. This machine has 2-core CPU, 4 GB of RAM, right? And how much it will cost. Here it is. So remember one thing, each operating system will cost you different. Windows will cost you more, Linux will cost you less, right? Yeah, the prices are here. Everything you can read here. But remember, whenever you're choosing, always go for free tier eligible. When I click on it, it should say free tier eligible. So by default, you just leave it. By default, it is on free tier. Now this is key pair. Key pair means this is something that you will use to log into the machine. Without this, you cannot log in. Okay, there are two ways to log in to a machine. Either if you are into Linux, right? If you are using a Linux machine, you will have to create a key pair that can use Putty. Putty is a software. If you are on Mac, you will use a different key pair. Okay, so let me demonstrate something. So for example, I don't have a key pair right now. It is saying proceed without a key pair. So this is also an option, like you can proceed without a key pair. Companies do not use key pairs, by the way, because see, key pair is something that can, if it gets leaked, the hacker can get into it, right? What if I don't even have a password? I can log in without password. So until I'm authorized, I cannot log in, right? So without key pair means you should be authorized users. AWS should have authorized you, and only then you can log in, right? But not everyone is authorized. So what we can do is we can create a key pair. So what I'll do, click on create a key pair, and this is what I was talking about. You give it a name. Maybe I just give it a test. This will be my key pair name, or I can name it a web. So like anything that is matching to the machine, you can use the single key pair for multiple machines also, doesn't matter. This is where things change now. It says if you use .pem, PEM is used for OpenSSH. OpenSSH means if you have a terminal, if you're logging via terminal, right? Mac OS and Linux users can use that, right? And if you don't have a terminal, for example, you're using Windows, then you will have to use this PPK, and this goes with the Putty software. Today I'll show you the PEM. Maybe in the next class I'll show you the Putty thing also. Okay. Today I'll show you the PEM because this is the easiest method to like log in for now. Anyone with Mac can use that, and then anyone with Windows, I'll show you the next in the next class because we don't have a lot of time also. I'll just go with this PEM first, and the next class I'll show you the PPK. Like I'll do it with the PPK, okay? So just download, like just create a key pair, and this will download on your machine because we'll be using this thing. So I downloaded, there it is. Then I scroll down, and this is where I was talking about. Like this is called a security group, and security group is a firewall. And you will see by default, this particular thing is open, allow SSH from traffic. This thing is allowed because as I said, this is a Linux machine, right? In Linux, you will have to allow SSH, otherwise it won't let you connect. I'll demonstrate that thing, but by default, it will be allowed. So do not change anything here. Just leave it as it is. And you don't want to change the configuration of this hardware, like the storage. You can change it to 30 gigs, as I said, but for our use case, because we are not running anything, 8 GB will be more than enough. So we don't want to change anything. And here you can like just select. And this is saying we will create a new security group. So by default, when we choose this, right, every instance should have a security group. Again, a security group can be used for multiple instances. Same security group or same firewall can be used for multiple instances here. But firewall is called security group here, right? If I click on launch now, it will create a machine for me that I can log in. And there are multiple ways to log into the machine. So today I'll show you two of them. And in the next class, I'll show you the other ways also that the companies use, right? I'll show you the two most used ways that you can do. So for example, if you don't want, like if for example, I'm your manager or someone, right? I don't have the key with me. What I can do is, you see this instance state, this should be running. So until this is running, I cannot log in or do anything. So make sure whenever you're logging to the machine, it should be running in state. So let it refresh. It's running. Now I choose this thing, like select. This connect option will start showing. So if I remove it, there it is. See, it's gone. So I choose this machine, click on connect, and here it will give me some information of the machine. First of all, it will show me that, okay, this is the instance ID. This is your IP address for the instance. So IP address is your address. Okay. So in like you are coming in from the internet. Okay. And in internet, you will have to have a unique address. And that address is called IP4 address. Okay, so this is the address that you will use to connect. This is your username. So without a username, obviously you cannot log in, right? And password is the key. But here the best part is on here on this platform, because I'm already a user in AWS and I have the permission to access EC2 instances. I can just click on connect like this, and that should give me the login without the key. You will see I did not log in, and I will have the console to work. There, see, I'm logged in. It did not ask me for a key. It did not ask me because I was already an authenticated user on AWS platform. But what if I'm not? I'm not a user of AWS, and for example, I'm giving this machine to a developer. I don't want him to log into this machine, but I want him to access this machine and do his work. In that case, what I'll do is, you see this SSH client, like you go to connect, click on this SSH client, and this will give you some commands to run. This is your PEM key. This is the commands that you'll have to run. So it is saying open the SSH client. Let me do that. I have my Linux machine running here on my Windows. Like this is Windows, but I'm running a Linux also. And you can run it on your Kali Linux, your Ubuntu, whatever you installed on the virtual machine. We did in the first class, right? You can use that there. You can install your Kali, you can open AWS there, and then you can do the same process what I'm doing right now. But if you are doing from Windows, that's why I'm not showing you the Windows thing right now, because most of you, I would recommend you to use Ubuntu or Kali, like those Linux to do these things. Okay, don't use Windows. I'll show you the Windows thing also, but I would recommend you to use as much as Linux as possible, because it will it will be a habit of yours. You will start understanding, you will start learning, you will start remembering the commands. Okay, so I would recommend you guys to like use this as much as possible. So what I'll do is, I need the key here first. So let me grab the key first. I'll just go to downloads. The key is here. Let me open it because I just need the content of the key. There it is. I'll just copy and I'll create the same key here. So I'll just create nano test.pem. Enter. I'll just replace this content. Paste, save. There. So now I have the key here. Okay. I just use the same name. You can use the different name, doesn't matter. I just use the same name. Now I have the key. So if I go back, so here I have opened the SSH client now. I have my private key with me. Now I need to run this command. It is saying it is recommended to run this command so that the key is not viewable publicly. So remember we talked about the permissions in Linux, right? So this key is open to all, like anyone can go and read. If I show you right now, let me show you the test, like this test.pem. See, it says read write access is there. What I'll do is I'll just run this command and see what will happen. I'll have to use test.pem, sorry. Test.pem. That is the name of the key. If I do this, and again, I'll show you the same command there. See, earlier it had read and write access. Write access means the key can be modified, right? The moment I run this command that AWS gave me, the permission changed to only read only. Like the key cannot be edited anymore. It is read only. Anyone cannot do anything. Okay. So now it should be good to use. So in this case, I can just run this command, this one. I'll have to change the name of the key because it is web.pem. I named it test.pem. It's okay. The name is okay. We just need to change the key. If I want, I can change the name also. For example, it was test.pem. I'll just change it to web.pem. Doesn't matter. Name is not the problem. The key content should match. Otherwise, like it's all good. So I can just copy this command. I go there, paste, enter. So if everything is correct, I should be able to log in. So it should give me the login credentials. Like sorry, the login. Let me see. Sometimes it works, sometimes it not. Let me log in manually. Let me type it again. So SSH hyphen I, like I want the interactive mode. I just name the key web.pem 12 at, and let me copy the address. So the address, I can just go back here. See, everything is here. I have my address, I have my username. So copy, I just go back and paste. So usually this is the command. You can do SSH hyphen I. Hyphen I means give me an interactive mode. I want to interact with my console. This is the password, okay, because we are using a key as a password. Username and the address. At is just there as a differentiator, like it differentiates between the username and the address. So when I do enter, there, it let me log in. So it is asking me for yes and no. And this is the key. So if you guys remember, I was talking about key a lot, right? So you will need a key to authenticate or like, sorry, encrypt and decrypt, right? This is the public key. So it is sharing a key with me. So now it is saying, see permanently added to the list of known hosts. So what will happen is now when the user will try to connect, right? For example, if I exit out, I've already shared the key, right? And if I again want to log in, it will log in directly. It will not ask me for yes and no anymore. There, it just logged in. Because now it knows my identity. The key was shared to me and I shared my own key. So that means we both shared our addresses, right? And we know each other now. So I don't need to verify him again and again. So now if I'm logged in, I'll just do sudo apt update because this is the same thing that we will do on a new machine. And there it is. I have the access. So that's how you do, right? Now you see I'm able to access, right? What if I change my security group? I like close the port 22. I block the port from firewall. So if I go back and let me log out and I'm here and I go back, let me go back to the instances and I go to security. This is where my security group or firewall is. If I click here it is, right? You see port 22 is open here. So I click on this thing, the name, you click the name, and here I can see port 22 is open, right? So I want to edit, like I want to remove this thing. I click on edit and I remove, delete. So what I did is I removed the inbound rules. That means any connection that is coming into the server from port 22 is now removed. And if you remember, I told specifically that by default, firewall blocks everything. So you'll have to allow the ports to come in. Okay. So right now I removed this. So that means now if I want to try to connect to SSH like this, it won't let me. Even if I do enter, I'll just be sitting like this. I won't be able to connect because I am not able to reach anymore. So the server is still there. Everything is working fine. The only thing that changed is because now I'm trying to log in to that server via SSH service, and SSH service runs on port 22. You can read the doc that is provided to you here. It will tell you the service port there. And I just closed off that port. So that means the server will not let me log in. There it is. See, it's stopped. The moment I go back and I again open that port, add rule, I just do SSH. There it is, SSH. And I put the name as 0.0. See, 0.0 means anyone from the internet can come in the moment they have the authentication with them. So 0.0, you'll choose this and save. And now if I go back and I cancel this and try to connect again, there, I'm logged in. So that means the firewall allowed me. So this firewall is specifically set up in a way where if I'm coming in from a different, like wherever I'm coming in from, even if I have the key, right, the firewall can block me. For example, for like there are two ways to block. Either I remove the whole port, but that is not something that is viable, right? Because what if I only want a genuine user to come in? For example, my IP is this thing, right? I copy this thing and I go back. I go here to the firewall. Let me edit that again. What I can do is, as I said, this 0.0 means anyone from anywhere on the internet can come in, right? Each PC has their IP assigned to them. You can always check your IP. You can say like, what's my IP? What's my IP? And this will give you the IP address. There it is. This will give you the IP address. It's checking. There it is. This is my IP. So what I can do is I can just copy this. I can go back and I can just allow my IP here. For example, I just put this thing here, choose this and save. Again, it won't block me. See, if I try to log in, I'm logged in. What I did here is now as a hacker, for example, you got the key, right? You have the key. You can log in. You have my address, you have everything. But the problem is firewall will only allow this IP. Anyone apart from this IP, if the connection is coming in from any other IP, it will block right away. So this is what firewalls are used for. So what I did is I created a rule. I said any connection coming in via SSH service on port 22 with this IP will be allowed. Anything that is not satisfying any of this criteria will be blocked. I won't allow. So that is what firewalls are used for. I know this is really like this can be a little bit complicated, but understand one thing, we will be like coming to this, we'll be using it a lot, so that like you will start understanding. But understand one thing, this is security, right? So what we are doing is I'm just showing you all the ways that you can protect your machines. And this is not like only this works on cloud, this works on your normal PC also. As I said, you can just go to firewall, you can look at the rules, you can go to firewall and you can look at the rules. So this firewall is available everywhere. The only thing is you have to be educated to understand this, because this is all networking and this is all like uncharted domain for you right now. But once you are done with this thing, that you will start understanding things. Okay, so this is like really important to understand, and this is what you will have to like go through every now and then. Okay, so what is EC2 auto scaling? As I was saying, auto scaling means that if the workload is having problems, right? If you are running something and it is not working fine, you can always increase the size of the instance, or you can increase the number of instances, right? So when you increase the number of size of the instances, it is called scale in. In means increasing, okay? And when you are like, when you think, okay, I don't need this much processing power, I don't need this much this number of instances, I can go back to a single instance and that was working fine because I don't have that much workload now. So that is called scaling out. Scaling out means you increase the numbers, and scaling in means you decrease the number. Like right now, you don't need so much instances, you decrease the instances to one. That is called scale in, like coming in. And when you want to expand, you want more instances to work, like to do heavy lifting, you can always scale out, and that is called scaling out. Like you want to increase the number of instances. But remember, in this thing, monitoring is always very important stuff, because until you know, okay, I'm getting a load. For example, I go here on my instance, I want to see how much utilized, like this instance is utilizing. I can go to this monitoring, and here I can see, there it is. So my instance is only using 4% of the CPU. That means it's all fine. The moment it starts touching 80%, 90%, then it will be a worry for me. Then I would like to scale the instance. I want more instances so that I can divide the load, so that a single instance do not suffer more load. And because see, the problem is once the instance deals with more load, right, it will start failing, it will stop responding until the load goes down again. So in that case, we want scaling. Okay. And then Amazon Machine Linux, I've already told you about. Amazon AMI means AMI means your operating systems, and there can be multiple AMIs. And the thing is, the best part of instances here is, if you create an instance, right? For example, I have created an instance, right? I have logged in here. The best part of AWS is, for example, nowadays, if you create something in your Windows, like you put some data, right? and your computer get formatted, what will happen? Everything will be lost. The data will be gone. In AWS, it doesn't work like that. So in AWS, what you can do is you can create backups. So what happens with the backups is even if your instance get deleted, if something a virus gets corrupts the instance, right? You can always restore the whole instance in its same state. Whatever was installed, whatever was running, you can install it, like you can restore it in the same state as it was there earlier. The moment, like if you have backup only, then you can do it. So for example, I want to take a backup of this thing right now, how it is running. I don't want to configure anything. I want this instance running as it is, right? I can just go to action, image and template, and I can create a new image. So when I do this, what will happen is I'm creating a new, like it's like creating a new operating system, a replica of this thing. So what will happen is whenever something goes wrong, I can always restore my instance with this operating system. So for example, I name it a web backup, right? And I go, and this is optional, by the way, I can leave it or I can leave it. You see, it is by default, cloning my operating system or my storage. So whatever is in this storage, it will be cloned everything. So if I do create, now what we'll do is if we create a replica of my instance. So even if something happens to this instance, I can always go and restore the instance as it is. That is what this means, recovery, right? And recovery is really important. So for example, you're running a workload, you configured something that was very hard to configure, right? You have configured everything, it started running fine. After a few days, like you took a backup like this, what we did. And after a while, what happened is something, maybe a virus or something corrupted the whole data. Now the workload is gone. So your only choice will be either to fix it, and fixing is not a very easy job, right? You will have to deal with a lot of things and it can corrupt more data. So what you can do is you can just delete this instance and restore the instance with that AMI that you backed up when it was running fine. And the moment you restore the instance, right, with that AMI is the machine image that you are taking backup of. For example, I will go to AMI, I should see a backup here. See, it is saying it is creating, it's pending. That means it is getting created. What I can do is I can restore my whole machine as it is with that AMI, with the workload running inside it. That is the best part. There will be no loss of data. The workload will be running inside it as it is. You will never know the difference that something happened to it. That's why recovering the AMI is very important. Is that clear? So AWS is the only thing that can give you that kind of option. The cloud services can give you that. In real world scenarios, that's really hard to do. It's called snapshot. In virtual machines, you can do something called a snapshot. Like if you're using VMware, if you're using VirtualBox, right? In that VirtualBox, that is called a snapshot. You can use it. It's probably doable, but that is called a snapshot. And that takes a lot of memory and like storage. Okay. So basically, just like AWS, we have something called Azure also. And in Azure also, we have the same kind of security features. We have firewall, we have key vault. In AWS also, we have key vault, firewall, and all those things, right? So same things like we have in different clouds as well. Okay. So remember one thing, just create a new account, right? And when you create an instance, right? For now, just do this much. And by the way, remember one thing, right? The moment you create a backup, they will charge you for that. This thing, they will charge you for that. So for practice, you can create it, right? And then just delete it as it is. So they will not charge you instantly. And also one more thing, remember one more thing, very important, right? When you are creating a new account, when you are running a workload, until that something is running and you don't want to delete, you just want to take up, like, for example, you are configuring something to a virtual machine, right? Right now, you're going to log out. You don't need to configure. You think, okay, I'm bored or I'm tired. I will do it like next day or after a few hours, right? Always either stop the machine, because the moment you stop the machine, they will stop charging you. Either stop the machine, or once you are done, delete everything that you created. In cloud, that is a very good thing to do, let me tell you, because you'll be using a free tier, you don't want cost. Whenever you create something on these machines on AWS, delete it right away after the work is done. You don't want to take your chances. Delete it. Otherwise, you will see hefty bills. Is that clear? Because people do not do that. They keep the server running. So even if you want the server, for example, if you delete it, obviously the data is gone, right? But if you want to resume the work after a few hours or after a few days, whatever, right? And you don't want to delete, always go to instance and stop the instance. They will stop charging you right away. Otherwise, if you keep it running, see if single instance is there, obviously that is okay. That's free of cost, right? But what if you run 2 instances, 3 instances, maybe? Because see what happens is, always remember this regions, right? What happens is by default, like sometimes what AWS does is you created an instance in US East 2 or US East 1. This is North Virginia, right? Sometimes it will automatically change the region. So when you come to instances, you will see, okay, nothing is running because the instance is running in North Virginia. AWS logged you in into Ohio region. You will never see, these regions are isolated to each other. So whatever is running here, this particular region cannot show, like it will not see it. So once it logs in here, you will see that, okay, nothing is running, right? So, and you will never recognize that the region is changed. So what will happen is you create one more server, and then what will happen is, then right now you have 2 servers running, and after a time, like after 15 days, they will start charging you for both the servers. For both the servers, by the way, remember, because 750 minutes are over. So they will start charging you for both the servers. Then you will start seeing pricing. So always remember 2 things. Whenever you are done with something, either stop it or either delete it. Always make sure to see the region. If you can't remember, just go to the billing, you will see the region, like whatever is running there. Is that clear, guys? We'll wrap up here, but just go through this, right? Whatever doubts are there, write it down, and then practice. That's the most important thing. Practice, right? And then come back to me. Okay, I'll be there. I'll be there. Stanley will be there. Is that clear? But remember, this is very important. Always remove or always stop the instances or whatever you're running. Stop it. Otherwise, they will start charging you. And be in the limits, like limits. Okay, any questions?
If you guys have any questions, this is the time for you to ask.
Yeah.
Or
If you don't have any questions, that is okay, because obviously that was a lot to take in. But I
yeah,
would really recommend you guys to, yeah, I know. But I would really
It
recommend
was
you
not
guys to like
easy.
start. I know. It's not easy. Obviously, nothing is easy for us, like because it's the first time, right? But
All those
that's why the practice
too
comes in.
many formulas.
I know, but once you start doing, right, it will look very easy to you. Like you won't even think about it. You will think like, what was there in, to like even learn there. So it requires a little bit of practice, right? Once you do it like 1 or 2 times, you will. It's not that tough. Once you start doing it like 1 or 2 times, you will get a habit of like it won't be that hard. But that requires a little bit of practice. And I'm there. If you have any questions related to this, any stupid questions, doesn't matter. Nothing. By the way, no questions are stupid, right? Any questions you have, just write it down. Come back to us. Obviously, we are there to support you only. Okay. Yeah, Leo, you are asking something?
Not really a question. So, sir,
Okay.
I was going to ask if it's okay for us to go ahead and try to create this AWS platform and all that.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I
you
was
should,
trying.
all of you should have it. Otherwise, how will you practice, right? But Stanley will
Okay.
assist you on that, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So like I said, you guys for those who are in Africa, I think Madam Mechanic can have access to our own platform because she's in the US, and I think Elvis too. Elvis is in the US. So if you are in Europe and the US, you can just put in your card details. They won't charge you, but if you go like what Sim said, if you start pushing for resources and you don't stop them or you don't delete them, when you are done, they will start charging you. So
Yes.
normally, yeah. So normally, I will take you guys through for those who are in Africa. I'm already making provisions for your virtual cards, like to make sure that you guys have Mastercards or Visa cards that
Yeah.
you put in
You'll have to
onto
be
the
really
platform so that
careful
you
about
have
these
access.
things.
Yeah. because if you don't stop any resources, believe me, if you sleep in the morning and by the time it's 24 hours, the Amazon can charge you like $100.
Yeah,
So you
and
have to
remember
be
they
very
have an auto deduct feature, so that's the
yeah,
most dangerous one.
yeah. So they won't tell you when they are charging you, they just charge you. So
Yes.
so you just be careful, especially when we have to deal with when we are provisioning for a WordPress website and we have to provision for the remote database server. That one is it is a more serious one where you have to be very vigilant. The moment we are done with classes, immediately you just have to go and delete and deactivate every resources, the VPC and the RDPs that you provision for that particular service. You delete everything else, they will charge you enormously. So, but we are going to work with you guys. We'll tell you immediately how and when to stop all those resources. The moment you're done with practice, how to stop them, how to delete them, so that you don't incur extra costs. So I'll work with you guys on that, so that you guys will have your virtual cards, your virtual Mastercard, so that you can practice. You can put it on the cloud website, on the Amazon cloud website, so that you can have access to creating all these instances and try to practice on your own. So
Yep.
I will handle that. So don't worry about that. So do you guys have any other questions? I see like everybody's so smart and so intelligent. No one is asking any question. Everybody's quiet.
Yeah. Not,
It's like
not like that.
everyone is understanding.
No, until you practice, right? All are smart.
Mm.
But the moment you start practicing, you will start getting into like things, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Then you'll start seeing questions.
I,
well,
for,
we're
for me,
just
I
still
was so happy.
digesting all the information.
I was so happy because I was thinking that everybody's a genius. So everyone is
Yeah.
understanding. I'm like, okay.
It is a smart person to even ask a question because I don't even know if
Yeah.
I want to ask. I don't know what to even ask.
Exactly. Mm.
Yeah. So as I said, like
Don't
the
worry.
moment you practice, right? Start
Yeah.
practicing, you will start getting questions. So I would like and encourage
To
you
be
guys to like do
honest,
practice.
to be
Hmm.
honest, the class of today, even though I came a bit late, to be honest, it's like
Hmm.
I'll not say I'm lost, but it's like I'm lost because
The moment
the
you,
demonstration was just going. I'm like
I know,
all this formula
see,
left and right.
see,
Well,
see,
I
the
just
thing
keep
is,
hoping.
see, the thing
Well,
is,
I
the
think
moment you repeat what I did, right? The moment you repeat it,
Yeah.
it will
Uh,
be all clear to you. Just repeat,
Yeah.
just do it one time,
Repeat
just one
step by
time.
step. Yeah.
Yes,
Just do it
just
one
one
yeah.
time.
time. The next time will
It
be
will be
so
the
easy.
easiest thing you have done.
Yeah.
The easiest
Yeah.
thing.
So I understand from the look of eye, the brain is already assimilating so much material. The brain already tells you this is a lot and it's too difficult. But when you
Yeah.
get hands on, when the moment you start doing them, you watch the videos. Say you have to when you're practicing, you can take about 3 hours to watch a video.
Yeah.
A video that's just 1 hour, but within the 3 hours, you take notes. You do it step by step in a way that if you are to do it again, you don't need to look at any instructions from anywhere. You just do it. So
And
yes.
I'm
trust me,
genuinely telling you,
it's
this is the
practice.
most easiest thing we have done in the class right now. Most
Yeah,
easiest thing.
yeah. You guys will know how to
So,
do this by the
so what
time we start provisioning for.
the last video deal is not yet available.
No, it's already available. I think you guys are having issues accessing them, but I will send them again. I will send plus this video for this class. I'll send the 3 videos, the last 2 classes plus this one, 3. I'll make sure you guys have the videos today. Then I'm also working with someone with a finance firm in Cameroon that's going to provision for you for those who are in Cameroon. They'll provision for you.
Guys,
I
I'll
think.
have to drop. Stanley, can you take over from there? I'll have to drop. I have
Yeah,
a
sure, sure.
meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
guys. I'll see you.
Thank you too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Thank you, sister.
yeah,
Goodbye.
man. Okay,
Mm.
so I'm working with a couple of guys who are giving this virtual Mastercards in Cameroon. So those in Cameroon will have access to these virtual cards that you use to create your Amazon Web Service account. Like you just follow step by step what you guys saw on the video, how to create an account, create a password, create an admin account. Then you know that you don't use your admin account. You create a user and you assign the user the privileges of the admin user so that you can use your user not your admin account, not your admin user. Don't use your admin user, use your user account. So you create your admin account first, then you create another user. Then you assign the user privileges of the admin. Then you can keep your admin account. But from time to time, you have to log in and check how the billing and how the costing is going, so that you don't incur extra charges. So for your duration of this course, I think you guys will have, I think, $35, $30 each for your account. So I'll make that available for you guys. So Madam Ekane, I think you're in the US, you can use your credit card. So I'll make available for that Zelle. So you will receive a Zelle either today or tomorrow for you to load your card so that you can have access to the AWS cloud service, so that you can practice these lessons that we will be teaching you. You understand?
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So for those in Cameroon, I think you have 30,000 francs, 35,000, $35, sorry, MasterCard that you use to create your account, because they'll ask you to add an account, to add a MasterCard account or a Visa card account, so that they can charge you in case you incur any cost. They'll tell you it's free, no doubt, but when you use it, if you incur any cost, you have to charge a card. So when you have that much amount in your account, so that each service you create, you just delete. Make sure you choose a fiat tier, the sandbox tier to learn and practice. Then when you're done, you delete the results, so you don't incur extra charges. So yeah. So moving forward on Monday, since it's going to take you guys, he will continue with this. If you guys have issues, or if you watch the videos and you have issues, he's going to continue with you guys. I think he will continue. I think next week and Monday next week and Wednesday. Then we have to do remediation on Friday and Monday the upper week. So I will remediate. There are things I will go back again. We'll stress on certain things that he has taught you guys and make sure that you guys are up to speed. Then we have to go back and work on the LMS,
Exactly.
so that you guys can catch up with your quizzes. We have to take all these quizzes. Yeah, so we'll take the quizzes we'll take them one after another, so that you guys go through all your quizzes and make sure that you complete your month one completely. You mark it as complete. So because I see some people are skipping courses or skipping materials. So we'll go back and we'll take the quizzes together. We'll move from week one to I think right up to week 8 together. We'll take them, then we'll go back to the whole material. We'll try to touch the places that you guys understand. We'll take it all. We'll go back again. Then I think you will have to run back this particular EC2 instances, or how to provision for your AWS account. We'll do that together. Then I think before he will come back again. So I think we have 1 week of break. That during that break, we'll have classes with me, so that we come back. Then we come back and continue with networking. So I want your heads to be open and clear when we start networking. When we're dealing with the cloud networking, you guys must have learned and understood everything we've done in the past, so that you know that we are changing a new subject, so that your brains will be open, your minds will be open. So I hope you guys had fun today. And I think if you have any questions and ask us, I think that's it for today. We can call it a day and end class. So does anyone have anything to say, any question or anything, any worries that we need to address before we
Merci
call it
beaucoup.
the weekend? What?
Now I say merci beaucoup.
Okay. Wait.
Mhm.
All right, Madam Mekane. So I'm happy that you joined the classes. That I was thinking that you'll not be available today. So
Actually, yeah, we tried. Mhm.
okay. So with that said, any other questions, any other concerns that we need to address before we end the call? So Phil, are you understanding what they're doing?
Yes, I'm understanding. I'm following up, sir.
Yeah. You're understanding, right? So you are genuine.
No, sir, I'm not, sir, not like understanding.
But you said you're understanding. Now you said not like understanding.
So he asked if I'm, yes, sir, my bad, I'm following up, sir, and when I'll have some difficulties, I'm going to get to you or the teacher on Monday.
Yeah. So when you have any difficulties, take it down. That is how you track your progress. If you have any difficulties, you have a notebook. You have a notebook that was given to you. You take it down, write your notes when you're reading. Write anything you don't understand, any question you don't understand, write it down. Any concept that you don't understand, you write it down. when you're doing his imitation, or when he comes and he asks you, you ask him, it is his duty to take you again, to take you guys through it. I don't care if we have to do more classes. Don't worry about the time that we spend on the classes. He's getting paid for his time and everything. You have to go back, and I want to make sure that you guys understand what he's teaching you guys. If there's any concept that you don't understand, if he has to take it back, he will run it back again. So that you guys, the goal is for you to be a job ready by the time you leave this program. Because the things that people are doing, it's not that difficult. You guys can do it. So by the end of this course, you guys should be able to do everything when it comes to security. It's not a complicated thing. I know now it seems so complicated, but when you guys get towards the end, when we're bringing everything together, you understand that you'll be like, so is this is why we did this. So don't worry. So at the beginning, we are taking you through all through this rubric so that you guys have a strong foundation. That's the essence. So nothing should come up that you don't understand or you don't know. Okay.
I particularly have a problem with his speed, but that's something that we've mentioned a couple of times. But it seems like he really cannot do otherwise. But honestly, his speed is a problem for me. I'm finding it hard keeping up.
Yeah, with that said, with the speed, I will talk to him about the speed, but you have to understand that people have different accent and they have different ways of speaking. He's Indian.
I think that's why
So
I say I think he cannot do anything about it. But
yeah,
it's
he cannot do anything about it because that's how he speaks. So the moment you try to calm him down, you calm him down for probably 30 minutes or an hour, then he will go back unintentionally
Exactly.
to how you're
That's
speaking.
true.
So yeah, so that's why,
It's just his
like
way
I
of
said,
talking.
yeah.
Mm.
So that's why I know that is a problem. So
It
I'll
is.
make out, yeah, in between these classes, I'll make out time so that we can do it in our own way. Like
Yes.
we can we'll run it back. I'll run it back, even though mine will be jumped. Like I will have to pack it up and do it in one or two
Yeah.
classes. But the way I'll do it,
Mm.
I'm sure that by the
It'll
end of those
be like
classes,
a
you guys will
revision.
understand. Yeah,
Mm.
it'll be like a revision class, but you guys will understand. So
Honestly.
right. We would
yeah,
like that.
the
Thank
goal
you.
is for you guys to understand what he's doing, the concepts behind what he's doing. You must not
Mm.
even know how to do the things as like verbatim, like to know it heart for heart. I don't think you guys can do it, but you guys should know the concept in a way that you can talk it and you can defend it in the case of a scenario. So that's the essence. So that's why I would say whenever he talks like that, you guys don't worry. If you guys have questions, you ask him. Still, in between classes, I'll make sure that before we change to a major a topic or subject, I'll have to remediate with you guys and make sure that you guys have packed all the materials you have learned, you have understood them before we move to the next subject. That is after my remediation. So don't worry. I don't worry.
Okay.
You guys will. Yeah. So I understand your concerns. Don't worry. I know what you guys are talking about. It's not easy to learn for them, but guess what? They are the best teachers. Even when you travel out, they are the ones handling ITs. They are the best. They know it. When I say they know it, I'm not saying that we cannot do it. I'm saying that they know it in a way that they can teach so many people at a time without any hitch. So he's handling about 5 or 6 classes. So sometimes he comes to classes, he's already tired because he's teaching for I think about 8 hours a day. I don't know if you understand.
Mm.
Yeah. So he's teaching. He's in the US. He's in India and in the US. So sometimes he has to travel. He's married. So you put all these factors together. You see that he's actually he's trying. So but you guys
Oh,
have me. I can imitate for you guys. Yeah. Leo. Yeah.
so I don't. Well, personal opinion, I don't think it's completely that bad. I think our problem is just because it's our first time getting to interact with this course and everything.